Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and today I'm here to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. I'm tired as shit because I fell asleep on my own auction stream last night, but you know what a day it is. It's Monday. I'm going to give you the top 5-ish books from last week's new comic book day, that if you missed out on them, you can pick up on this week's new comic book day, or you can get them for someone for Christmas, because it's the holiday season. Snowman Cappy. I'll stop touching myself now. But to find out what makes the list, you'll find out next.
Hey, little girl. Did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright. This week I've got my standard top 5, and then I've got 3 books that I will, quicker than I normally do, hopefully, talk about my honorable mentions for the week. So, here we go. Honorable mention number 1 from Boom Studios is Power Rangers number 2. It's Ryan Parrott with Mortarino and Angulo on the art and the colors. This book was really good because it's setting up the secondary conflict. You've got the Omega Rangers who have defied the decision of Zordon, and they've stolen Draken and are essentially going into space to fight the graver existential threat. And in terms of, you know, trying to figure out what we think they were going to have to deal with at the end of either issue 1 or the mention of these events in Mighty Morphin number 2, really what happens is somebody takes the ship. There is an attack, and the way that they get in there and their tactics on fighting are kind of cool. So in terms of really setting up the first conflict arc, you've got, you know, a threat on the ship. You've got Zordon, who is not happy with the Omega Rangers and is riding their tail. So pretty solid read. I'm sold on this series already. Number 2 from Marvel is McKay, Vitti, and Guru EFX's Taskmaster number 2. I enjoyed this book. Part of it is because I'm a hack for Taskmaster. But you start to get to see him in action. Remember, there are 3 or 4 individuals that he has to be able to, impersonate to be able to get the database information that he needs to help clear his name and work with Nick Fury to figure out who actually killed Maria Hill. So, this was a very conflict-driven, very interesting book 2 to see the method to his madness. And then number 3 is a book that I knew I was going to love anyway. From Scout Comics, I think it's a one-shot, but it's Star Bastard and Loggerhead number 1. And it's Clemson, who is the writer of Star Bastard, Silverback, who's the writer of all things Loggerhead, and then Dawson, who does the art. This book takes 2 characters from 2 different small franchises, and they end up meeting up. That Star Bastard number 1 came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago, or it came out a while ago, and it was in my Scout box, and I assumed it was new. But Star Bastard is fairly indestructible. Loggerhead is a mixture of like Swamp Thing meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they end up together in an arena. How or why they get there, they're not so sure, but they've got to take on a big bad. The chemistry between these 2 is kind of funny in terms of watching the feel themselves out process. I don't feel bad saying that Loggerhead it feels like Ninja Turtles-esque in the way he operates, because there are a couple of pretty funny jokes about how Star Bastard refers to Loggerhead. So this is a good, entertaining read that even if you don't know who those 2 characters are, I think you could pick that one shot up and enjoy yourself. So here we go. What makes the top 5? Coming in at number 5 from Boom Studios is We Only Find Them When They're Dead, number 4. It's Al Ewing and Simone DeMeo. Book 3 and 4 feel very similar in terms of like the conflict between the 2 generals who have chased each other through hyperspace. Really, this makes the list that this is probably my favorite book of the week in terms of art. that I think, you know, Ewing's writing is pretty good. Simone DeMeo has just been crushing it in terms of just what's going on artistically, in terms of, you know, stuff that's going on in space. I also think the lettering in this one is kind of cool in terms of some of the devices that we're getting to put the story together. And there was a good conversation on Comic Burrito's Discord about whether or not this book would be something worth reading digitally to see if DeMeo's art is enhanced by the backlighting. And there were a couple of people who were like, that's a solid yes. So I might pick up this book on Comixology just to see how it feels if the digital enhancement makes me like the art that much more. But solid book. I'm going to keep pulling this series. Coming in at number 4 from Image Skybound is Stillwater number 4 from Chip Zdarsky, Ramon K. Perez, and Mike Spicer. This is the first book that starts to answer a lot of the questions that we have. We don't necessarily know why Stillwater is this special place where people become immortal and don't age. We don't know the answer to any of that yet, but we start to get some insight into how and when the townspeople kind of discovered that, and we get a little bit more insight into why mother and child ended up separated when they did and how that all happened. We also get set up in a big way what I think the conflict arc is going to be for the next couple of books, and I have to tiptoe around it because it really happens in like the last 3 pages. But I read that final page and was like, yeah, you nailed it. This is going to be a book that if you are iffy on this series, Stillwater number 4 should have hooked you hard, because once you see the introduction of what we think is going to happen in book 5, or the setup for book 5, it's a very, very good cliffhanger. This book is solid artistically, it's solid from a story perspective, and it's quite good. And we don't get the creepy records keeper lady who gave me a nightmare. The lady who assigns when your death day is. Absence may make the heart grow fonder, because coming in at number 3, a book that took more than a year off to get us the beginning of Arc 2 from Vault Comics, is Resonant number 6. It's by David Andre. I already forgot the artist's first name, and I watched her on Comics and Beer, Skylar Partridge, Jason Wordy, and Duran Bennett on letters. So Bruce and Stephanie get all the credit in the world of pushing this as a series that needed to be read. I picked up the trade in quarantine, and it's real good. David Andre, who is the author, is always in the Comics and Beer chat room on Friday nights, and it's just a good read. So this is not something that you can pick up and start reading the second arc and assume it's a clean read. You need to pick up 1 through 5, which you should definitely do, because it's a weird, cool, kind of apocalyptic tale where if you see the cicada that's being chomped on, the chirpers do some things that can help heighten people's emotions, and it makes them crazy-ass violent. And we got a pretty good cliffhanger at the end of issue 5 in terms of multiple kind of cultish groups were threatening either some recruits of the cult on an island in one instance. In the other instance, there were cultists that were clashing with a church and potentially about to encroach on the land of the main family character's farm. But this was a good read, and it's just a different, like, having the artist change from the first arc to the second was not anywhere near as jarring as I thought it would be. That I think she absolutely kills it. So here's a little insight in terms of the conflict that we see on the island. Here's where we're getting some conversation between the cultists and the church in the woods. But I think the art is real killer, and we did not see a wave in this book, which surprised me a little bit, since there were so many conversations about whether or not people effectively learned how to control them. But I definitely want to see what it looks like when Skylar draws a wave in the next couple of books. But it's really good, and you should go check out their interview on Comics and Beer. I'll throw something up here, as they were Bruce and Stephanie's interview guests last Friday night. But solid book. Resonant is back, baby, and it is awesome. Coming in at number 2 is a book from a publisher that I love, and it's a title that has been solid in the first 3 issues, and number 4 is no different. You've got Anthony Cleveland and team on Stargazer number 4 from Mad Cave Studios. So this has been building to kind of everybody who's been in communication spread out, hopefully coming together so they can figure out what to do with the aliens, or to communicate with the aliens to get to save Kenny, to pick Kenny back up. In here you get an insight into what the Skymind looks like, and the doctor who is communicating with them actually plays a big role throughout the book in issue 4, and issue 5 was up on their preview site, and damn, it's good. But I really like the conversation that we see between our main character and the home that she is hanging out in, with a real, like, conspiracy theory driven dude who is trying to, you know, help her pass the time by learning about the flat world and the flat earth, the flat inner world. He's talking about all kinds of conspiracy shit, and then there's, what was the weird kind of porn that he was like, you shouldn't look at, or it's not mine. I feel like it was like Viking erotica. Oh, Bigfoot erotica. Yep, nope, that's not mine, it's a friend's. But essentially this book becomes a conflict between the 3 main characters who are fighting to get Kenny back, and the feds in terms of trying to stop them, that they've been tracked, and they do not want them to initiate contact with the Skymind. So very, very solid book. This is a series that y'all should definitely be reading, that I think Cleveland and team are absolutely crushing it, and it's going to be hard to knock book 5 out of my weekly rankings. That I don't know what else is coming out the week that Stargazer 5 comes out, but Stargazer 5, very nicely done. I read almost 30 books last week in terms of things that came out this week, but there was one that rose above all, and I think the title of this book might also be descriptive of a lot of the things that I do on this channel. Coming in at number 1, Scout Comics is Shit Show number 1. You've got Adam Barnhart on the writing. DeStefano is the artist, and then Letter Squids did the lettering. So first, I like not just the A cover side of this, but you can see a little note that says flip over for a Christmas cover, and I think that's pretty funny to me. And this book, sheet thick, but you have a lot of things going on in this book, and I know that's a weird description because there are a lot of things going on in every book, but it introduces you to the main character, who we learned is from the Age of Superheroes, where there is a battle against, like, a devilish figure, and you find out that in the Age of Superheroes they are not fully successful in vanquishing their foe, and a bunch of the heroes get wiped out, so they find different ways to deal with their PTSD of kind of failing at their mission of keeping the world safe and seeing a bunch of their friends die. So they all end up working at for a circus, and they're all like circus acts, sideshow, hustles, that kind of stuff. And you see everybody kind of getting ready to hype people up for the show that they can put on for the audience. I like the way that each character is kind of introduced in terms of like, here's who they are from a power perspective, that happens both with the children in the circus show, in addition to all the folks that we met during the Age of Heroes. But what I am very intrigued by with the main character of Legend is, and I think the way I tweeted about this after I finished reading it, was if you take Mr. Miracle, and not just because they've got the circus sideshow background together, but if you take Mr. Miracle because he's struggling with the mantle of being heroic at times, with people kind of taking him seriously at times, and then eventually worrying about family. So if you take Mr. Miracle, you make him drunk, and you make him have kids that are responsible for cleaning up after his nightmares, that is what this book is, and it was a really, really fun read. I'm excited to see what is next in the tales for our heroic family, given the reveal at the end. And I missed the Christmas one-shot shit show that is on the Christmas cover side of things. But I think that's going to be what I read as soon as I get done editing this. So what'd you think? Let me know your thoughts on my picks down in the description below. In terms of other stuff that I got going on this week, I know it's a holiday week, but you'll see my normal progression of Monday and Tuesday videos this week. I think to get through the holiday stuff that we're all dealing with on Wednesday through Friday, I think I will have some unboxing stuff coming out. But starting on the Saturday after Christmas is where you're going to start seeing some of my picks of the year videos start to come out, in addition to, you know, my other standard content next Monday and Tuesday. So we'll count some things down as we work towards the new year. But yeah, that's it. If I don't see you in the premiere, I don't talk to you on Instagram or on Twitter, or I don't know you and this is your first time in, and we don't chat between now and the Christmas holiday this weekend, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Joyous Festivus. You know, if you celebrated Hanukkah, right? My bad on missing that. Happy Hanukkah last week. But hopefully you have a good holiday season. Do things to take care of yourself mentally, socially, emotionally. And then if you're going out and dealing with people, you're having live holiday gatherings, be safe. Don't spread the Rona, because I want to get out of my basement and actually go teach in my classroom. I like wearing sweatpants at work, but I would rather go to work. I would sacrifice putting on pants for that. And that's your little me tip at the end of the day. So as always, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.